It is day 5 of Health Week, and today we're going to talk about our mental perspective, kind of wrap this up with making sure we're healthy from a mental standpoint. And we have exercises sprinkled in to define my day to help you with this, from affirmations to pointing out your appreciation. So we'll get into all of that. But how is everybody? How's your day going? It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday, right? Heading into the weekend. The weather here is going to be great. It's going to be cool, mid 70s. Looking forward to hanging out with the boys. In fact, the boys in a little while are going to be going to take a bike ride at one of the local elementary school parking lots. So, they're looking forward to doing that. And I'll tell you, this morning's been good already. I had we had friends over last night, so we went to bed just a little bit late and woke up this morning about a half an hour late, but made sure I used my time pretty efficiently. And I got my define my day in, my meditation still in, out on the patio in the sunlight. It was really nice. A lot more easy to visualize, this exercise of like sunlight hitting your body and creeping down your body. It's a lot easier to visualize that when it's actually happening. So that was pretty cool. And then got a like a 20-minute aerobic exercise in, and I'll tell you. So this is my first week back, and I've told you, like I've been struggling on the strength side of things and the endurance, and I did my aerobics today, but for the past couple of days. I felt crippled. I mean, can't walk. My hamstrings are so tight, and I did not lift heavy weight, but I've been crippled trying to get around. But I haven't done really any aerobic exercises in a long time. I've focused mainly on strength, and doing a little jumping around in the basement really feels pretty good. I forgot what that felt like afterward. It wasn't too hard of a workout. In fact, I was shocked at how well I was able to do it. My joints are a little sore. I'm a lot tighter, less flexible than I used to be. But from a cardio perspective, actually did really well. I was pretty happy with it. And afterward, not being dead tired, but feeling good. Like energetic, and I can feel it in my perspective. Like I feel good about going into the day. So I'm pretty happy with that. Definitely the opposite to how I felt yesterday afternoon. By noon yesterday, I had crashed. My mindset was terrible. And not because of anything other than I didn't get very good sleep the night before. I was cranky. My coping ability was very low. Things were just bothering me. And I even just had to tell Lynn, I'm like, I am not in a good place right now. I just need to work this out. And what happened, what I ended up doing, I ate lunch. I took a pre-workout, which gave me a little burst of energy. I exercised a little bit, and doing some positive things for myself, while it didn't completely correct my perspective for the rest of the day, it helped. I felt like I had accomplished my workout. I had a good lunch in me. I ate healthy, and it just kind of like let some of the thoughts go away. Reading also helps me in there. So I read just a couple of pages of my book in the afternoon. Did some chores around the house. So like I did the things to get my brain in the right place for a couple of hours, just from like noon to 2. And then I was in the right headspace to get back to work, and I was able to work and actually get some things accomplished in work that made me feel better also. So, by 5, 6 o'clock dinner time, I was in a much better headspace than I was, through the previous part of the day. And so, I mean, like we all have bad days. We all have days where like, you just have to be conscious of knowing that you're not reacting to things from the best place. So you just have to be conscious of that. Maybe make other people aware of it, and do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself. And I think I was pretty successful with it yesterday. I'm not always successful with it, that's for sure. But yesterday, I feel like I did a pretty decent job with it. But this morning felt really good about this morning. And I something just happened, and it's why I'm a couple of minutes late with this session today, because I was able to sit down and go through my morning routine and then sit down and make my notes for this session early enough. At 9:45, I finished making a bagel for my youngest Ryan, and he's 6 right now, right? And I was going to run up here as I normally do and get prepared to do this. And I watched him, walking away from me with his bagel on his plate. And I thought, you know what? I don't want him to sit by himself. I'm going to sit down and talk to him, right? And so we sat down and talked until he finished his bagel. It took 10, 15 minutes. And we had conversations about how long Lynn and I have been married, how old he's going to be when our 17th anniversary comes up, which is 2 years away. So he did that mental math and all that stuff. I don't even know why that was important to him. We talked about, what he's going to be doing today, going to his new school in the parking lot and riding his bike. All of that stuff. Like that moment, that 10 or 15 minutes, not a huge deal, right? But, it was like a concentrated 10 minutes of quality time that would have slipped away had I not made the best use of my time earlier in the day. Like I found that pocket of time to connect with my boy because I used my time wisely earlier. And that's what we talk about. That's a very specific example of what we talk about. Like when somebody says to me, I don't have time to plan my day, I don't have time to do anything, I'm running all over the place. That's exactly why you need to focus on this process. That's exactly why you need to go through this process so that you use your time most effectively when you can. And then you can have those meaningful moments with the people you love. Or you can simply take the time to take a walk for yourself and clear your own mind and do the things that you need to do that's healthy for yourself. Whether you're learning or just relaxing or being present, bird watching, whatever you want to do, that's the point of doing all of this. Because the alternative is this. This is the alternative. Me 10 years ago. I wake up until the last minute. I wake up at the last minute, rushing around the house, jumping in the shower, putting on my clothes, hurrying up and doing whatever I need to do, shoving a bagel down my throat, and then running up here to do this session. All that time, and maybe I probably didn't work out. I'm in this session with a weird energy, like a disoriented, hyperactive, anxious energy. I haven't talked to my kids. I haven't talked to my wife. I mean, that was literally me 10 years ago. So, the difference between the two is stark. I mean, it's a sharp difference. And, I can look at my day. I've been up since 6:30, and I can see in the 4 hours I've been awake, what I've been able to do already is more than I've done, or I would have done, 5, 10 years ago. All because I'm much more mindful in where I'm putting my time, right? I've defined my day. I've eaten a healthy breakfast. I've had some coffee. I've read about 30 minutes worth of a book. I meditated. Did I say that already? I talked with my son. I talked with my wife. I took a shower. I shaved, like all this stuff. I woke up my other boy, my older one, and sat in bed and goofed around with him for 5 minutes. Like, like just stuff, right? And I'm going to go out of here and I'm going to have meetings and stuff that I'm going to be doing for the next 5 hours. And by the end of the day, at 4 or 5 o'clock on a Friday, I'm going to be able to give myself permission to say, it's the weekend, baby. You do what you want, right? And if I want to work, I can work. And if I want to do yard work, I can do that. If I don't want to do anything but screw around, if I want to play video games with my kids, I can do that too. Because I know I used my time where I wanted to use my time, which then enables me to give myself permission to do anything else. And as long as I'm happy with it, as long as it's something that I want to do, right? So that's the point of all of this. What's the point in all of this? All right, let's get into the comments real quick here because I know I've seen some comments popping up. Pam, happy Friday. Just returned from an outdoor workout at the gym. Beautiful outside in suburban Chicago. Good for you. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Sandy. Good morning, Brenda. And Brenda says, had another great workout at the gym pool. A little sore today. I am a lot sore. Although I'll tell you what, when I do an aerobic workout after doing a couple of days worth of strength workouts, I feel like, I don't know if it's the added blood flow, but I feel like although the aerobic workout is much harder from a stamina point of view, because my legs are already burned out still from Tuesday's leg workout. So I'm having a hard time doing some of the movements in the aerobic workout. But what happens is it kind of works out that soreness. I don't know if it's if it's moving the lactic acid out or whatever is going on. I don't know the medical things that are going on, but I feel better by getting that blood moving and flowing through my muscles. Good morning, Angel. Good to see you. And good morning, Jenny from YouTube. Good to see you. So one of the things, we talked yesterday about, when somebody mentioned, meditation doesn't fit for them. So they spoke about, it just doesn't work for me. What else can I do? Or something to that effect. And my thought was, well, you just do it anyway. The point of it is your brain doesn't work that way, but it's very important to try to train your brain to work that way, to be mindful, to focus, to calm that monkey mind. Like that is beneficial, especially to like the person that really doesn't want to meditate. It's probably most beneficial for that person, right? And I was watching my son. I let him put cream cheese on his own bagel, and he's left-handed, so everything's oriented, the opposite of the way that I would do it. And I was thinking to myself this in relation to that conversation we had yesterday. You have to pick the deficiencies you want to work on. I could, and I think this even happened 50 or 100 years ago, I could try to make him do everything right-handed. But what's the point? If there is no benefit to working on a deficiency, like being able to use your right hand, if there's no benefit, then there's no reason to work on it. But if there is a significant benefit, let's say he wanted to go into a profession where he could only use your right hand, and that was his dream, well, then it's worth it to build up his coordination and right-handedness. But if he's going to go into any other profession, working on your right-handedness doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So from my perspective, the concept of being mindful and being able to calm your mind and being able to focus on a task and being able to self-soothe, to calm anxieties, to rewire your brain in a healthy manner, that positively impacts every aspect of your life. So in order to do that, you meditate. Even if you feel how it's impossible for you, you do it anyway, right? Because there's benefit everywhere. Now, if it's something like working on your right-handedness, if you're left-handed and there's zero benefit, it's just a deficiency that you feel like you need to overcome because it's there with no clear benefit, then you don't work on it. If meditation had no clear benefit, there'd be no reason to continue to work on it, right? If it didn't fit you. And that's the way you need to look at it. If like I can't play instruments, right? So for me to invest time into playing an instrument just because it wouldn't be worth it. Now, if I found it relaxing, if I found it soothing, if I enjoyed the attention, and if it gave me some sort of sense of purpose, well, that's different. It's all in the perspective of how you look at it. If you don't need to work on something, don't work on it. But if there is a clear benefit, well, there you go. No matter how hard it is, there you go, right? So, yeah. Stephanie had a rough day yesterday work-wise. Did not start my day with exercise like I should have. Ended up walking last night, and it totally helped. Good. And that's a very good example of like, we don't, like, even if the day starts off bad, we can still recover. We can still bring it back around, right? Look, and look, there's times where like the whole day seems like a bust. But if I can end it on a positive note in some way, then, you know, great. If I can do anything, even if it doesn't bring me back to normal, at least it's on the right direction. Good morning, user in the user group. Good to see you. All right, so today, I want to talk about having a mindset and a mindset that enables you to grow, right? And there's two components of this. One of them is having the mindset that you can grow, and that's the growth mindset, right? Carol Dweck talked about it in her book Mindset. And you can either have a growth or a fixed mindset. And I think having that ability to see that your failures are just a momentary thing. It's a learning experience. It's either something that points out that you have an opportunity to grow and get better, whether it's meditation or a skill or something at your job or even a relationship mistake. You can grow from it. Or it's an indication that you're going in the wrong direction. Like if you see a failure and it's a failure that you never want to experience again, you can make that choice of, do I not want to experience it again because this is totally the wrong path for me and I need to adjust? Either completely turn around or just adjust a little bit to avoid this failure again. Or is this just an indication that I need to improve my skill and I'm willing to keep running into this failure until I get it done right, And then the other side of it is having that purpose. Like, so we have to have the right mindset that enables us to grow, but then we also have to have that sense of purpose and direction for our lives. And we need to focus on, like, we need to kind of rewire our brains to understand that, like, there's things worth worrying about and there's things that are not worth worrying about or ruminating over. And we need to, like, rewire ourselves to look a little bit more forward rather than backward. And we need to make sure that we're spending the time focusing on what's important rather than all of the other stuff that's happening in life. Let's get to Amy's comment real quick here before we go deeper into it. So Amy says, good morning from sunny and soon to be hot Arizona. Dog only got me up once. Progress. 4 a.m. Didn't exercise today, but hoping to swim shortly. Still finishing up taxes and had errands to run yesterday. Very cool. Good for you, Amy. All right, so the first thing I want to mention about having this mindset, and I think it's one of the most important things, is that life is going to give you pain no matter what, right? Like, pain happens to all of us. It's indiscriminate. Life is not fair, right? There has to be a purpose for your pain. We talk about Viktor Frankl, through the past couple of months, and he went through a concentration camp. And his observation was that the people that had a purpose for getting through it, whether it was reconnecting with family at the end of it or whatever their purpose was, the people that had a purpose were more likely to survive. And if you look at this in your own life, like, if you look at pain as something that you just have to get through to get to where you're going, it takes on a different meaning. If you look at pain as just something that's happening to you and you wallow in it, like, you're stuck. Like, it's that fixed mindset. It's like, this is just happening to me and I don't know what to do. And you just sort of focus on it rather than focus on getting through it. So rather than just focusing on how much pain you're in, you need to say to yourself in some way, like, what can I do with this? What is this moment teaching me? How can I learn from this? What's life going to be like when this is over? And these, you read in different sources, like, these people that, like, there's people that can be in any situation and find the bright side of it, find the purpose in it, right? People going through cancer treatments, those people that are always looking for, pity and always looking for, you can just see that they're crumbling, right? And then you see these people that are strong throughout all of it. And no matter what they're up against, I'm going to beat this. Even if they don't beat it, they kept that mindset to the end. I am doing everything I can to beat this right now. I will be fine. They're leaving their positive mark on the world, right? We can all be that. We can all be the strong person, leaving their positive mark. We're choosing whether or not to do that every day. Every day. So whatever you're going through, there's always different perspectives. And it's one of the most important things. I think it's what got me through my most depressed times. One of the things that got me through my most depressed times as a teenager. My dad always told me, no matter how bad you think you have it, somebody else is going through worse. So stop feeling sorry for yourself is kind of what he was saying, right? But it took a different meaning for me. If somebody else could get through this, I can too. If somebody else can go through worse than this, I can too. Or just appreciating how bad I have it right now, but it's still better than what it could be, than the worst case scenario. So a little bit of appreciation in there too, right? Appreciating that, like, life sucks right now, right? Like, wherever you are, life sucks right now, or I'm just going through a struggle. Wherever you feel you are right now, you still woke up. You still have your health. You still have the opportunity to get better, growth mindset. Eventually, things will change. This is teaching me something. This is making me stronger. You can change how you perceive what you're currently going through. It's up to how you decide to approach it. One of the biggest things for me were, difficult situations with people, right? Arguments, misunderstandings, like feeling put upon by somebody else, feeling at the mercy of somebody else, all of those feelings. And the only way I found to most effectively get through that in all these situations is, how can I do better next time? What part do I have in this interaction, and how can I do better next time? How do I avoid getting into this situation? What did I do to get into this situation? Maybe the answer is nothing. And then it becomes, what do I do next time to more effectively handle it? Because I know somebody is going to, do something to harm me. How do I most effectively handle that? And so if you think about that every single time, it makes, like, this is teaching me something, right? Anytime you have a difficult situation, what is it teaching me? What can I learn from this? How can I handle it better next time? Struggle is the opportunity to learn in any situation. It's the opportunity to grow, whether it's an interpersonal relationship, whether it's just learning a skill, whether it's trying to improve your physical health, whatever it is, struggle is the opportunity to learn and grow. All right, next. You can always improve and grow. So no matter, like, if you're in the habit, if you're in the rut of feeling like, you are who you are, this is how God made me, this is just it. If that's how you feel about your life, know that that's not true. You got building blocks, and it's up to you to actually build upon the foundation that you were born with. So you might choose to work on some of the things that don't come naturally to you, right? Or you might choose to capitalize on the things you are naturally skilled at. But it's your responsibility to take what you're given and work with it, right? I go back to that quote that was in Bruce Almighty, or Evan Almighty, when the wife is in the restaurant and God's comes to her as a server in the restaurant, and she's complaining that it's so hard, that her husband thinks he's Noah and all this other stuff, right? And God says something to the effect of, like, look, God doesn't grant you patience. He gives you the opportunity to be patient. He doesn't grant you kindness. He gives you the opportunity to be kind, right? He doesn't give you the opportunity to be powerful. He gives you the opportunity to grow into overcoming whatever you're going through. And you could blanket that statement on anything. You grow into, like, your struggles that you go through every day, those are the things that are defining who you are. And so you have to look at everything you're going through every day as the opportunity to grow and become a bigger person than you are today. And that's not saying that like situations don't suck. I know like you can be a victim, right? Like people are victimized all the time. Life is not fair, and it's a universal statement. Everybody comes up against an unfair situation, some more extreme than others. But it's our responsibility how we handle those situations. It's our responsibility how we choose to handle those situations. We can either succumb to it or we can grow from it. And sometimes we need a lot of help, but we can still overcome it. All right. So let me get into the comments and I'll go into some of the things we have built in to define my day to try to step forward with these mindsets. Diana said that she heard a quote this week: the pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Very good statement. I love it. Marcia says, I use visualization to help me focus on what I really want. It helps me believe what I will become. I visualize my goals as if they were already accomplished. We act on what we believe to be true and right. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, right? Like when you see it, you can align your actions to make it happen. Your brain, when you visualize something, your brain can move to make that happen. If you continuously visualize it as a place you want to be, you will guide your daily little actions toward making that happen. Good morning. Absolutely, I'm trying. Grief is so draining. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you keep going forward. We have no choice, right? We're in this situation. We're living. We have no choice but to be here. So, how we handle it determines where we go from here. So, all of like everything, you know, all of this stuff that's going on right now, a lot of it is awful. And we have no choice but to keep going forward. And how we handle it determines the direction of where that goes. Yay for lefties. God gives you the opportunity to be patient. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So, in Define My Day, we have a couple of things that improve mindset. And, you know, I for a long time was very, uh, I had a very like visceral reaction to anything woo woo. So, like, especially affirmations. Like, I always think of Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live looking in the mirror. I'm special. People will like me. Like, I always think of affirmations like that. But affirmations are a way to visualize who you are or where you're going, right? And so when I write affirmations, I write, I am a loving father. I am a caring father. I am present. Things like that, right? I am ethical, like things that help me make decisions. And the more I train my brain, if I can read those affirmations every day, the more I train my brain, the more naturally the decisions happen. So when my son's walking away, like at some points in my life, I'd be walking an opposite direction from my son taking his little bagel to the kitchen table. I would be walking away and that affirmation would ring in my head, I am present with my kids. Oh, you're not being present, you're walking away, you're going to do something else. Stop. Align your actions with who you want to be, your purpose to be here, that affirmation that you've created for yourself, right? Now, look, people can create affirmations. I am a millionaire. Okay, but if there's a lot of internal dissent, right? If there's a lot of cognitive dissent with that, like, like in your mind, you don't even see a path to being a millionaire. Like every moment you say, I'm a millionaire, if you're not really doing the things to become a millionaire, your brain's just going to fight it and you're going to write it off as a nonsense statement, right? So it's got to be like a realistic thing. Now, you can say, I am a millionaire, and you can literally align your actions with how a millionaire behaves every day. But if you're not realistically going to do that, don't make that an affirmation. I am present with my kids, right? I am a loving father, right? And so that affirmation might not pop into my head actively. It didn't pop into my head at the moment I was making the decision this morning. But watching him walk away, I did think to myself, this is an opportunity. You have 10 minutes. Go sit down with him, right? That's it. I'm ethical. There's a lot of points in time. Everybody has different versions of ethical, right? You create your own boundaries there. But, the shopping cart scenario we talked about before, right? Right? That's part of it. It's the everyday little things. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so, the extra 5 minutes of being mindful and taking my cart to the stall, that's an ethical thing for me. It's what I'm supposed to do as a person. Being honest. I there was a like 3 or 4 years ago, I found literally, I think it was like $400 and $50 bills blowing around a parking lot. And I picked them all up and I'm looking around thinking somebody's videotaping this. Like, who's putting me on YouTube right now? And I picked them all up and I walked from storefront to storefront asking if anybody had lost money. And everybody's answer was no. And somebody called me. I must have left my number or something, but somebody called me in my office the next day and said, hey, he was like a chiropractor or a physical therapist or something. He goes, hey, I heard you found some money in the parking lot. And I said, yeah, I did. He's like, it's probably mine. And I asked him how much it was. He told me. He said, great, I'll come and pick it up, right? And he came and picked it up. I gave him $400 and he gave me a case of beer, right? Now, I could have walked away with $400, and believe me, $400 a couple of years ago would have been really helpful. It's really helpful now, right? But it's just that, like, I grew more as a person by doing the right thing than I would have been able to do with $400, because $400 that you basically steal from somebody, what are you really going to buy with it? Like, what's going to, like, if it's meaningful, like, look, some people might need to put food on the table, and I almost can't fault that person. I really can't fault that person. They need to take every opportunity they can. I wasn't in that position, but I feel like making the decision that I made solidified some of my ethics. It proved the point. How you do anything is how you do everything. And that was ringing in my mind as I was doing that thing, right? So, affirmations. Who are you? Who are you defining yourself as you go through the Define My Day process? That's the purpose of the affirmations. And they can change. My affirmation list was this big a year ago. Now I have like 5 right now that I'm working on, right? One of them is to be a loving and present father. And I need to be present and take moments. When I am tired, when I am, not wanting to do anything, that's the moment that I need to live into my affirmation and say, you know what? You're tired, you're frustrated, but now is the moment you can be with your kids. They need you. And I get up and do that. And that, living into that purpose, makes me feel better than sitting down and doing nothing or doing something, not worthwhile. Let me see. What do we got here? Hey, Sherry. That's okay. I'm glad you made it. All right. So the other thing that we do with our Define My Day process is appreciation, right? This is the appreciation we write down every day. I appreciate, right? The thing, looking at the thing that we have good in our lives. And this can be a struggle for some people, especially if you are in a really bad place. I think it was the same person that I mentioned last time whose dogs were waking her up in the middle of the night. I'm fairly certain that she also wrote for her appreciation, nothing. My first reaction was, that's awful. My second reaction was anger. You're missing the point. There is always something to appreciate. The fact that you have the ability to write something down, to write anything down, is something to appreciate. You woke up today. You're breathing. Like, no matter what your situation, there is something to appreciate in being here. And I understand there are hard times, but there is always something to appreciate. And so I read, or I heard anecdotally that like 75 or 80% of all the person's thoughts in their mind are negative. I think I first heard it in like a conference somewhere. And I kind of like started like watching my own thoughts and realizing like, yeah, we worry, we stress out, we overanalyze situations. We're going through all of that stuff. And then occasionally we think of some good stuff, right? And for a guy, maybe you're thinking about sex a little bit too. And, I think that for me, affirmations and appreciation, it's a way to tip the scales just a little bit. And again, we go into this like 0.01% improvement, right? If I can change my thought patterns just a hair, if I can tilt them a little bit more towards the positive than my average or more than the average of the average person, then I am winning. I am improving. I am growing. And by taking that moment to look at what good you have in your life, I'm breathing. I am waking up to a sunny, warm day. I have people around me that love me. I have people that support me. I have the ability to make my life better. I have a great job. I have a house, a roof over my head. Whatever is important to you, and it can be silly things, it can be deep, meaningful things. It's different for me every day. Some days I wake up and I feel appreciative that I have the energy to get up out of bed, or that a part of my body is not hurting, or that I'm waking up next to my wife, or I'm waking up to my kids, screaming and whatever, or friends that I have, or sunny days, or, the ability to go out and drive around, or not having corona. Like, there are a lot of ways to look at like how my day is good no matter the situation I'm in. And it is hardest to do this in terrible situations, in moments of adversity, in moments of depression or anxiety and grief. It's really hard. And that's when we need to do it most. Tony Robbins once said something to the effect of, it's impossible to be in a state of appreciation and also have a negative mindset. It's virtually impossible. Like, if you try to think appreciation and then try to have an like, you can't be like, you can't be in a negative place while thinking about what you appreciate. It's impossible. And if you can flip that switch just a little bit, and maybe if you're going through your day, and this has happened to me, I'm going through my day and I'm just checking off priorities, and maybe I'm in a moment of stress and I glance down at the thing that I wrote down that I appreciate, and I can just think to myself, yeah, it's not that bad. Not that bad. I'm going to get back to work, you know? Now, an effective way to really let this appreciation sink in is to visualize it, live the moment, right? So if you say, I appreciate warm, sunny days, you're standing out in the front yard and the sun is hitting your face and you're smiling and you're soaking in warm sunshine. I appreciate moments with my kids, and you visualize being with your kids. I appreciate the few remaining days I have with my parents, and you visualize and have moments, like visualize moments of speaking with your parents and what you might say next time. And the best thing about that is that when you have that moment, you'll be more present in that moment because you've already focused on it as a point of appreciation, right? The last exercise that we have in Define My Day is the today I will enjoy, right? Or the today I can enjoy. Um, I use this in two ways. One, I use it as a bargaining tool for myself. Like, today I get to enjoy a beer at the end of the day, but only if I finish my priorities. But the other thing this does for you is it gets this anticipation of the thing you get to look forward to, the short term, like little thing you get to look forward to. I get to watch a movie with my kids tonight. I get to have dinner with my wife, or I get to see a friend that I've missed for a long time, or I get to call somebody on the phone. I get to enjoy this thing. And it gives you that little bit of forward thinking, short term forward thinking, positive thing, that thing you get to look forward to. So don't pass up those little things in the book. Don't go, oh, that's hokey. I don't need to do that. That's a very important piece. In that, I don't need to do that. That feeling you have, like I don't need to work on my right hand if I'm left-handed. I don't need to do meditation. It doesn't work for me. It does. all of this does. It's very important. Don't pass it up. Don't treat this as a to-do list of things you need to do. You're missing out on a greater part of this whole thing. So what do I want you to take from all of this? There's two big things that I want you to do. I want you to, when you journal and when you're thinking about all the negative things, I want you to reflect on the past with grace. Look at what you've done well and appreciate that you did well and you want to keep doing that. Look at what you may have done wrong. Understand that you need to learn from it and move forward with grace. Like, forgive yourself. But then move forward with a sense of purpose, right? So understanding that you are going to have adversity. Bad things are going to happen to you and to people that you love. But when you have a sense of purpose, when you have a clear sense of purpose, why the pain is happening, or what you can learn from the pain, or the direction of your life, and you see these obstacles as just something to get through and not something to get stuck on, things get easier. And you grow that perspective. You rewire your thoughts to understand that this is just happening for me rather than to me, right? You ever heard that before? So, direction, mindfulness, and forgiveness. 3 huge things in this whole process. Have a clear sense of direction and purpose. Forgive yourself for your mistakes and be mindful of where you are in comparison to the direction you're going. All right, let's get into the comments real quick. Giving gratitude always helps me. Absolutely, Diana. I love that. Now, our birthday girl, Sheila. Happy birthday, Sheila. I'm glad you made it today. Yesterday, I got some news about a change at work for next year, and it had my emotions going all kinds of circles. In the past, change really impacted my forward movement. My mind starts running all the what ifs. I know, I do the same thing. It just comes natural to me. I start to make mental plans on how to react to all the what ifs, that negative mental planning that impacts my current projects, etc. And I think that was what was happening to me a little bit yesterday too. Yesterday afternoon, driving home from work, mentally planning for all the what ifs, I stopped myself and verbally told myself, no, I will not do this. I have my race. I will run my race. The route may change a bit, but I will stay focused on my race. Right? And there are things like good business people do plan out all the what ifs. They understand what the risks are and the threats, and they plan for them. But a lot of times it's not worth it, right? We can't let it overwhelm us. We can try to anticipate what might happen, what might go wrong, but we have to move forward. Otherwise, you kind of devolve into like an anxious, whatever. So very good, Sheila. I like that. All right. I skipped Melissa. Hold on one second. Melissa says, beside the I appreciate section, I added one of the definitions of appreciation, which is to value highly. I looked up the word to make sure I understood what the word truly meant. This really helped me. Very cool. Very cool. Marcia says, I received some very bad news about some remodeling I must do on my house, requiring demolition and lots of money. I was so upset and anxious about it until my neighbor came over. She reminded me that this would be an opportunity to design a kitchen that I've always wanted, perspective and appreciation of opportunities presented. Very good. Very good. Melissa says, I did the same thing in this section and added definition of enjoy, which is to take delight in. Very cool. Kathy, such good thoughts. I meditated this morning for the first time. Thanks. You're welcome. I'm glad. Welcome to the club. Very cool. And I've only been meditating for 10 minutes for the past couple of weeks because I've been trying to work myself back into the process. And 10 minutes is going by almost too fast now. It wasn't a couple of weeks ago. And so now I'm going to be moving into the 20-minute meditations next week. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's still one of those things that you kind of creatively avoid, but once you do it, and once you start getting better at it, it's really, really good. Amy says, not getting sleep makes me irritable for sure, but our dog is the sweetest thing, and even in trying to wake us up, she is ever so gentle with pawing or licking us. I look at that face and usually melt and think something must be up for her to need to go out. Graceful and appreciate that we have her. Very cool. Jenny, I enjoyed the 3 steps because it does make you reflect on your life and also set your intention for the day. Good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Jenny. I appreciate you. And yeah, absolutely, Sheila. Happy birthday. I saw that this morning when I logged in. Angel says, a little bit ago you were talking about affirmations. I wrote mine long before I found Define My Day, and they are all present tense, even the ones I am not even close to being. When I started, that was probably about 50%. Now I'm about 90% of what my affirmations are. That's awesome. That is really awesome. And so, like, people, I write mine as present tense. And there's different strategies you can use with affirmations, but I do write mine as present tense. I am is how I write my affirmations. And again, I don't write I am a millionaire. I don't write, I am well respected in my community. I mean, like stuff like that is not for me something that I can really create. I can't make that realistically happen myself. Now, I can write, I will increase my income by this amount within the next year, as long as it's reasonable. I can write, I will carry myself in a respectful manner. I can write, I give respect to other people. Like I can write that stuff, but I can't change how somebody else feels about me, right? So you have to be careful. There's like a fine line, I think, with making an affirmation realistic and making it just a wish. So you have to like evaluate that, like kind of work yourself through it. Like, is this really something that I'm going to be living up to? If the answer is no, then don't ruin the process for yourself. All right, it is 10:50. I have to get on with my day. Looking forward to a great weekend. I will not be here tomorrow morning. I plan on being here Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So look forward to talking to you all then. I hope everybody has a great Friday. Enjoy your beginning of your weekend here. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep moving forward, and I will talk to you Sunday morning.